And we're back in glorious full vision. You can see me and Morgan at the same time. You can,
Spooky,
we're not like breathing on you, and I can bang the table as much as I want.
Please don't, though. I can still hear that.
Ow! God, you're making the comics upset.
Anyway, we welcome back the Video Monkey, who is gracing us with his full view camera, and it'll be pictures this week, and everything will be back to normal.
It's gonna be super shiny for you.
Very shiny. So we're gonna get right into it. And
yeah, speaking of shiny things, before this book falls over, I want to get to talking about it. We have the first volume, the collected trade paperback edition of Riley Rossmo and Alex Link's Drumheller. It's a super cool 5-issue story here about a psychedelic detective and his various romantic entanglements and supernatural cases that he takes on. He has an ex-girlfriend who's a werewolf. He has an ex-girlfriend who is a sorceress. He has an ex-girlfriend who is an herbalist. And he also has an imaginary ghost cat to deal with. Not to mention the dead prisoners and the toilet wine and all the various drugs that he takes in order to solve his crimes.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot to deal with.
He's got a whole lot on his plate.
Yeah.
And he also happens to be, not all there. Really, really fun character work in this book. Typically, psychedelic art from Riley Rossmo. He delivers on pretty much every aspect you would expect him to. I really enjoyed this when it was coming out in the single issues, and there's a ton of unused covers and process work in the back. There's also ghost dinosaurs, because who doesn't like dinosaurs and ghosts, right?
From Marvel this week, the second issue of the... Well, I guess it's not really an event, is it?
No, just the new
just a big
flagship franchise. What other buzzwords can we toss in there?
All new, all now,
yes.
and all Joe Mad, which is the real reason you should buy this book, with colors by the amazing Marte Gracia, who's been doing all new X-Men with Stuart Immonen, who, if you haven't been reading that book, I look at it at least. I mean, it's amazingly well drawn, especially the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, which is very cool. But yes, this is following... he draws such a good Captain America. Basically, Medusa is now the queen of the Inhumans, and looking for her husband Black Bolt, and the Inhuman Terrigen mists have spread throughout the world and are infecting people and creating things like this.
I don't know why she doesn't just look over in the new Avengers title. He's there all the time.
It's true, but I mean, whatever. This book is a little late, so it's a little behind. But yeah, Joe Mad, Charles Soule, Marte Gracia, very awesome.
Another piece of cosmic weirdness from Marvel here. That seems to be a theme this week, honestly.
You'd think they had a big cosmic movie coming out soon.
Well, speaking of somebody who's playing a huge role in that movie, and you might have seen at the end of the Avengers a couple years ago, boom! Thanos Annual! Written by the one and only Jim Starlin, who, if you haven't read anything that he's done having to do with Thanos, he created Thanos. He also tends to go, not for the really obvious story beats. He skips ahead more for the dueling to the death with a future version of yourself, giant big-headed versions of yourself, the devil, things like that.
He doesn't mess around.
Yeah, no, and hardly ever is it coherent. But this is written as a lead-in, actually, to the graphic novel he's going to be doing as part of Marvel's OGN initiative. This summer's Thanos, The Infinity Revelation. Because what else haven't they thrown the word infinity in front of?
This is true.
This has art by the...
One the only Rutlam.
Yeah, the man behind the art of the Infinity Gauntlet in the 90s.
And X-Men 2099.
Oh, yeah.
You can't forget X-Men 2099, man.
Well, I definitely can't. It's burned into my brain. But yeah, Thanos, in case you were wondering what he's up to after getting turned into Amber in Infinity or whatever.
Right. And what else? Speaking of more crazy science, from Image Comics, the first trade of Black Science by Rick Remender, Matteo Scalera, the special $9.99 introductory price. This book is amazing. Rick Remender's been on fire lately, even with his Marvel books. He's doing Uncanny Avengers, been doing Deadly Class, which is great. And we've talked about this a lot. If you aren't reading this, you fail at life. You should definitely read this. I just finished up the first arc, which leaves you on a serious cliffhanger. This book grabs you by the balls, throws you into a weird, cosmic lake with strange frog people and giant pyramids, and just doesn't let you go.
There's even a quote by J.H. Williams on the back where he uses caps, all caps, on part of it. Okay, not all caps, technically.
But yeah, no, absolutely great sci-fi, alternate world adventure stuff. Cheap trade. And now, normally we would throw to Mr. Will Harris at this time, but he's not here, so...
Yeah, we're covering his part here with more Marvel than you could possibly handle. And guess what? It's all Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's right.
We have a hardcover collection here. This is Guardians of the Galaxy and All New X-Men,
The aforementioned
Trial of Jean Grey.
Stuart Immonen.
Stuart Immonen, Sarah Pichelli, Mr. Brian Michael Bendis, because... You might have noticed these are both the ongoing books he's writing now, not counting that other X-Men book, and I don't know what he's doing. Spider-Man, yeah, everything else.
Yeah.
But this is actually a really, really cool story here. Following that up, we have Guardians of the Galaxy number 15, leading off of the 100th issue that they had a month or two ago. Nick Bradshaw and Cameron Stewart on art duties there, with Bendis writing, as always, sort of seeing Captain Marvel's introduction to the team. And finally, the Guardians of the Galaxy movie prelude, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy movie prelude, number 2.
Whatever.
This, of course, leads into the movie, because what else would it do? You see this blurry screen cap of Groot and Rocket Raccoon. This picks off basically where the last prelude left off. And
which we still have copies of number 1.
Yeah, it shows you exactly all of the crime that Rocket Raccoon and Groot have been getting up to. The various cases of spaceship theft and, Grand Galactic bail whatevering.
Well, after you're a temp, and you have to spend all that time pushing around paper in your Rocket Raccoon, there's a lot of pent-up frustration. You gotta go out and
take it out on the spaceman.
That's right. And that was a lot of Marvel, so we're gonna cool it down a little. We're gonna send it over to Ms. Anna, who has some strange oddness and monsters.
Meanwhile, Godzilla. He's battling out with Titanosaurus on the bottom of the ocean, so there's a bunch of awesome Godzilla sea creatures. If you didn't get enough monsters during the movie that you might have been disappointed by this weekend, we have issue 12 of Godzilla Rules the Earth by Chris Mowry and Matt Frank. On a different note, we have a new graphic novella debut on Fantagraphics by Connor Stetschultz. It deals with the horror of memory when two butchers show up to work with no idea how to butcher anymore. When customers start coming in and they start floundering in their trade, how will their profession sort itself out? It's also squished in between the frame of another horror story when school kids happen upon a severed head. Memory, cool cross-hatch artwork, and not PG-13 body parts are abound in this new graphic novella by Connor Stetschultz. And if Constantine hasn't been floating your boat lately, we have a new number 1 from the Gold Key reboot off of Dynamite Comics, Dr. Spektor, Master of the Occult by Mark Waid and Neil Edwards. He's a playboy, a millionaire, kind of like a Geraldo Rivera meets Chris Angel, where he takes down monsters and tries to leave a normal life in the wake. It's kind of hard when you're the master of occult, though. This new issue has a special cover by Frank Francavilla, who is awesome, and he does covers for everything, so you should pick up everything he does a cover for. We also have a new issue of Sovereign by Chris Robertson, Paul Mayberry. Sovereign number 3 is a fantasy meets magic, meets every literature course I ever took in school. It deals with the Middle English history, it deals with Shakespearean history. It's has a lot of fantasy going on for it. Chris Robertson's previous series, iZombie, just got picked up by its pilot, and his what's that thing called? The internet. His internet comics, Monkey Brain, they're pretty popular. He's a pretty popular guy, so you should check his books out. And last we have the second hardcover volume of Tampopo by Camilla DeRico. If you're familiar with the work of the tragic German play Faust, where the devil makes a pact with God that his believers won't also find true knowledge and love God at the same time, it's put to work in The Girl of Tampopo as she's hooked up to a machine to gain supreme knowledge, but then decides that she wants to experience the tragedy and the love of human emotion. She's also being followed around by her devil companion, Kura. It's an amazing, beautiful visual poetry that is a great addition to anyone who likes the classics, as well as manga art style told in a new way. Those are my choices for this week. Thanks.
And we're back. And no, there was just not enough Godzilla in the Godzilla movie.
Yeah, we could do a whole nother video about that.
But we won't. We will save you. We will instead bring you the amazing stylings of Mr. Jason Latour and Mr. Jason Aaron and Mr. John Arcudi. The first one here, Southern Bastards, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Badass, like, fried chicken crime here. Seriously Southern awesomeness. There's some great, great storytelling beats going on in here. Jason Latour is really, really shining through, and Jason Aaron's letting him and providing a very, kind of...
It's a lot of gnarly atmosphere.
Very
going
gnarly,
on. The
yes.
grossest knuckles I've seen on a comic page
Seriously.
in my life.
And Sledgehammer 44 is spinning out of the Hellboy universe, and this is a great comic about robots punching Nazis, because what else do you need in a comic book? Again, great art by Jason Latour, does the first couple of issues, followed up by Lawrence Campbell, gritty World War II type of stuff, so if you're digging that out of Hellboy, but, you want more Atomic Robo in your Hellboy, you read Sledgehammer 44.
Yeah, because we can't get any screw-on head anymore.
No, there's no more screw-on head, because Mike Mignola hates us. Anyway.
And going back towards the more traditional sci-fi, we have, rounding off the mini-series of the Star Wars. This is issue 8. Mike Mayhew and this Rinsler guy have been adapting George Lucas's original screenplay treatment thing into a totally out-there mini-series. We've got Metropolis-styled C-3PO there. We've got a kind of handsome-looking Darth Vader with one red eye. I don't know. Honestly, Luke had long, flowing locks, so it looks like everybody might have been way better off in this alternate universe, but because ours is the darkest timeline, this is not the Star Wars we got. But it's the Star Wars we should have always had. The collection should be along shortly, but if you want to have these nice, shiny, floppy issues, complete with the afterwards, then, come pick this up.
Oh. And one of the two new Image #1s, or one of the few Image #1s, this is COWL, the Chicago Organized Workers League, by Kyle Higgins, Alex Siegel, and some seriously nice art from Rod Rice, or Reese. Reese. But this is not your average kind of take on superheroes. This is more of your kind of steampunky.
I'd say more pulp for sure, but there is some steampunk influence.
A little bit of steampunk, sure. But yeah, I mean, this is the idea of organizing superheroes and kind of making it more of a regulated profession.
Yeah, why not have a union?
Why not have a union? Because then you all get to hang out in a bar and get drunk together. But yeah, I mean, this has got some great noirish art. The color on this is beautiful. The textures on this are really, really nice.
Yeah, if you've been digging Phil Noto's Black Widow series.
Yeah, this is like Phil Noto, but with some more like electricity. If like Phil Noto stuck his finger,
in there.
Into an electrical outlet and then drew, that'd be a bit more of him. But this looks really cool. First issue, already out of print. As per Image modus operandi.
Speaking of Image over here, what's this? Another #1? Technically, it's only a one-shot, but this is Revival Chew, also known as Chew Revival. Yeah, it's got 2 covers. It's got 2 stories. And, weirdly enough, they're by the creative teams of Chew and Revival. So, if you like both of these totally bizarro, kind of funny crime comics, pick this up. It's a great supplement to both series, and, you won't be, hungry after you read it, I should say.
Because they're 2 great
Oh my god! Also, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Whoa, dude.
But you don't get to know what that is.
No. And finishing up this week, it's, hey, look, another book from Image. You can tell by the sparse back, the very nice one-color cover. This is Trees by the one, the only Warren Ellis, with art by Jason Howard, and this is supposedly about aliens, but you know, I gotta say, I looked through it, I saw no aliens, but
There's some large alien structures.
there
come
are,
on.
but Warren Ellis usually works on the lower level, on the subconscious, you know. You're gonna read this once or twice
Yeah,
and then
next
get
wave is
the
totally subconscious.
get the secret message. But there's some nice kind of like Giannis kind of scratchy police stuff. Jason Howard does some really cool art on here. It's very energetic. It's got kind of a nice I want to say like almost not quite District 9-y, but a little bit.
Oh,
you
I
know,
would
a
definitely
little
draw
bit
that
of District 9
comparison.
type of thing.
There's some big business wonkiness going
Yeah,
on, manipulating all the
absolutely.
poor people who are suffering from alien stuff.
Absolutely,
You know.
but how long has it been since we got a Warren Ellis, creator-owned, do whatever the hell he wanted thing that wasn't for, like, Avatar? Yeah, so very excited about this, and we've already rambled on so long, but it's good to be back in full color and everything, and we apologize for the last 2 weeks. See ya.